All right, if you're struggling with different ways to make cards for the holiday season, I've got you covered today with a quick, easy technique. And this is a look at the cards. We are going to take and add some tissue paper to regular cardstock and make it nice and fancy. So there's my cardstock. It's just 4¼ by 4¼ by 5½. There's my tissue paper. I cut slightly bigger, and you're gonna want matte medium or I'm gonna do it 2 different ways in the video. I'm going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue, watered down really well, just kind of a milky consistency. Crumple up your paper, your tissue paper if you want. If you want a little bit more texture, you don't have to. You can do it straight, and like I do on this card. I also, back to the adhesive, you're gonna, matte medium works well. Multi-matte medium works really good. Mod Podge would work. If you're going to use Mod Podge, I would definitely get like the matte finished Mod Podge, because if you want to add anything to that, the glossy is going to resist it. The matte would actually not, so I would go with that. If you wanted a glossy finish, then like I'd use the regular Mod Podge. But I encourage you to use what you have for this technique. Now, sorry, I need a drink. You do want to cover the entire cardstock with adhesive, because if you don't, it's going to peel up in a little while. See, I thought I had it all covered. Now, once you get everything attached and it's dried over, I'm going to say dry overnight is what I did. You're going to trim off all the excess tissue paper. And it's not going to matter if you don't get it exactly perfect, because you're going to trim these panels down in a little while. Excuse me. So I'm just going to trim off all those. I'm going to do that, most of that off screen. But I wanted to show y'all just how, like, I'm just trimming off the excess. Just like that. And now I've got them all trimmed. I'm going to pull in some embossing folders. I picked some of my favorites from different companies. And we're going to emboss our panels. So I'm going to spritz the back with water. Make sure you don't spritz the front. And I'm going to run all those through my embossing folders. I use embossing folders from Spellbinders, Simon Says Stamp, and one other one, but I can't remember now who it was. I'm going to trim off my panels. I'm going to trim them down to 4¼ by 5. I'm sorry, 4 by 5¼ and that allows me to get nice clean edges around the entire card fronts now, and trim off any of those straggly edges that may have been left on there. Now, once you have all your panels cut, you could totally like put your cards together at this point, but I wanted to step it up a little bit, and I'm taking some stencil butter. This is the gold champagne gold stencil butter, and I'm just taking very little on my finger, dabbing it off, and just brushing it just across the embossed areas. You don't want to press really hard. You just want to kind of glaze your fingers ever so slightly right across any of the embossing. You could also do this with ink. That would give you a different look, but that would work totally too. I also use the wax. It's the Artco wax, mixed media wax. That's what the silver and the copper are. If you're sensitive to smell, I don't recommend that, because it does have an odor to it. The Hero Wax worked really good too. I really liked it, how it looked. This one, the 2 poinsettia ones are my favorites. And again, I'm just going to slightly glaze over it. You can see I have just a little bit, but watch your fingers. Make sure you clean before you do the whole process, because if you have anything else on your fingers, it's going to get on there, like the silver just did on there. So I'm just going to continue adding our stencil butter on there, and it's the wax you cannot cover it really well, so be aware of that. The stencil butter added the most shine once it was dry to me. And again, watch the amount you put on there, just like you saw. I kind of got a little overzealous and pressed a little hard and got a little over abundance of shimmer, but is that a problem? I don't think so. I think a little shimmer is great. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below. Little shimmer or a lot of shimmer? All right, we're going to do our last one, and I'm just, again, glazing right over just the embossing on the panels. I just want to pick up on the embossing. That's the real trick here. Is you really just want to glaze over it just to give that embossing just a little bit more texture and shine. That's going to take your card, especially holiday cards, up to the next level. And it just adds that little something that everybody needs. And it's so pretty. So we're just going to continue on there. Adding that little bit of shimmer. I can't stop. All right, so there's all the panels. You can see in there how much glistening that gets. You can tell I don't really care for the last third ones. All right, now for those panels, I decided I wanted to add more of a distress look. So I pulled in my Distress Oxide inks. And this is Pine Needle, Black Soot, and Rustic Wilderness. And I'm going to just add a little bit of those colors onto most of these panels. This one, I just did the outside edges. And then there's a little piece that had stuck up. Remember, I told you if you don't get enough on there, glue to begin with, it would peel up. There was the case. And I just kind of tacked it back down with a little liquid glue. All right, for this panel, I'm going to glaze over the entire brush panel with my brushes, and I'm going to do all three colors. Really didn't like how it turned out, but in the end, it turned okay. I wasn't a fan, so I buffed off most of that color. And then I'm going to take this gold one here, and I really wished I would have left one of these. I wish I would have left it alone. But anyway, I did discover that if you take and you use your Distress Oxides over that stencil butter, it would resist a little bit. So you can see how when I buffed that off, that gold came right back up. So that was a real great discovery. So I'm going to continue and just do these other couple panels. There's the colors that I used. And now I'm going to take the Winter Foliage stamp set. It's a stamp and die set. And I'm going to take and attach that with some... I just got the attached removable adhesive. I couldn't think of the words. To the Door of the Misty. And I'm going to stamp all those sentiments into a piece of white cardstock. I think it's Hammer Mill. Smooth cardstock. I'm just going to stamp that a couple times to get all those sentiments, because I wanted to make sentiment strips. So I had that idea, and then I was like, well, I can just cut them now all at one time. Well, yeah, you can, as long as your sentiments are all going the same way. So what I should have done is took them all off, the ones that were like on the sides, and then put them all like lined up and then cut them, but I didn't do that. So I'm just going to trim those off equally with my little snips, my little cutter bee snips, and then I'm going to trim off the excess, and then I will go and line those back up in the guillotine trimmer and just whoop, 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 and cut those little sentiment strips. Now, I'm not too worried about any of the weirdness on there, because I can take and trim around those, and that's what I do for most of them. I trim them down a little bit more with my paper snips, where they're nice and just neat. And as you can see here, I'm auditioning. I took the Winter Foliage dies that are in this set and cut those out of just white cardstock. And I'm auditioning the sentiments with some of the die cut elements, and to figure out how I want these to look. That's a great way. I can just stack them up. Once I get everything put together, just stack it on each of the cards. And then I've decided I wanted a little bit of sparkle, a little bit more. So I cut white glitter circles. I believe this is Hero Arts, and I've wanted to pop those up. So I punched some scraps of just black cardstock, and I'm going to attach it to the back. Attach it to the card front, add my foliage and my little sentiment strip, and weight them down, because it's glitter cardstock. Nothing likes to stick to glitter cardstock. Lord knows I had the worst time trying to get things to stick. So I had to weight them down and let them just dry. So I'm just going to stack these up all right here together. And in the end, they actually turned out really pretty. I was very surprised. You can embellish these if you wanted to, but I left the embellishment to the die cuts and the little glitter circles with the panels. I thought that was just a nice little touch of prettiness and enough bling. So I'm just going to continue adding on those little die cuts, and you can see right there how the glitter cardstock does not like to hold on to things. So I'm going to weight this one down with a little foam tape and then hold it down, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to pop this circle up. You can pop them up if you want to. You don't have to. I kept most of them super flat to make it easy to mail. I'm going to add that sentiment on there. And then for this one, I changed my mind and took off the pine cones because I decided it was a little too much with the pine sprig and the pine cones. And so I'm actually holding it together with my reversible tweezers I figured out this far in, and I figured out that if you hold it with the reverse tweezers, it actually helps them dry a little bit better. Keeps it in place. So here's our last two cards. These are my favorites from the whole video. I don't know, I have a thing about poinsettias. Y'all know this if y'all watched any of these videos. All right, this is our last one. I'm just putting on our last little bit of glue. Pop it on that pine cone. Pop it on our sentiment. Wham bam. There's 8 cards super quickly without a lot of fuss. But again, for this technique, you can use tissue paper, wrapping paper, decoupage paper, all kinds of stuff. I challenge you to shop your stash. Here's all 8 of the cards that we made in this video, and each one of them are different because I use a different embossing folder and change the technique, or change the gilding on each one of them, I should say. Now let's just get these over here, and that is a card. Those are the cards. I mean, it's super quick, super easy. I did these all in about an hour. So that's it for me. If you have any crafty problems you want me to tackle, leave them in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Give it a thumbs up. Bye, guys.